Ohio State's defense has given up 6 points this season, and none of them came in its 56-0 win over Western Michigan. Now they head off into an off week before they play Marshall in 2 weeks. I'm Stephen Means. That's Stefan Krajisnik, and that's Andrew Gillis. Andrew, what is the most important thing you've learned about this defense through 2 games?
That even if this offense was bad, the defense's ceiling is high enough to win you a lot of really important football games. I think going into this season, what did we talk about, right? How can this defense create big plays? Because that was something that, for how good they were last year, admittedly, they really didn't do it. Like sacks, they were not towards the top of college football. Turnovers, they were towards the bottom of college football. They were really good. I think the way to put it would be they had a really, really high floor defensively last year. They allowed more than 20 points once. It was when they allowed 30 to Michigan. And even then, that was with Kyle McCord in the offense gifting Michigan like an 8-yard field or whatever. So I don't even really want to give them the 30 there. Like, they were really good all of last year. And it wasn't even like a bend, don't break situation. It was just they were just really good. But we have seen through these first 2 games that they are going to be aggressive in terms of getting the ball out, in terms of trying to score defensively, in terms of just making aggressive play calls, coming after the quarterback. You mentioned it with like how this defense is just showing out with all kinds of new defensive line packages. We were talking about it's like the Rushman package. It's like, all right, well, here's Caden, and then last time it was Jack, and then next time it could be this guy, next time it could be that guy. They're just rotating. Everything looks smooth, and they are just pinning their ears back, and they are really going after opposing offenses. So aggression, making big plays, that is what can take this defense to a whole other level. Because, again, last year the ceiling really high, the floor really high. This year, the ceiling, if Ohio State's offense was not very good, we would still be talking about this team as a national championship contender because of how high this defense's ceiling is and because of how good they are defensively.
Stefan, what you learn?
Ohio State's defense probably has like 17, 18 guys that would start at most Power 4 programs today. Like, are you telling me Arvell Reese wouldn't start at most schools? Are you telling me that Caden Curry wouldn't start at most schools? Like, it's insane, the depth that they have, and outside of safety, like, you feel pretty good about what you got. I mean, listen, Denzel Burke might be the best corner in America. You lose him in the first half, and it's like, all right, well, you're still going to shut them out. Like, it was just dominant because they have so much depth, on this defense. It's amazing the things they can do. They are, they've been aggressive, but they also don't need to be aggressive. Like, the 4-man rush that they've had, they've been fine, obviously, against group of 5 teams, but like even against Big Ten teams, like the 4 starters that they got along the defensive line can do a lot of pressure on their own, right? You don't need a ton. We also saw today, like Steven, you had said this in the press box early in the game, we didn't see a lot of CJ Hicks today because he didn't really fit kind of like playing against an offense like Western Michigan's. And they were just fine. Like, CJ Hicks is a starter most places in America, and you can be like, hey, your play doesn't really fit, this opponent. They have options. They're deep. They have so many options on what they can do with this defense, depending on who they're facing, which we talked about it. It's a different playoff. It's a 12-team playoff. You're going to play more teams than you usually can. Now you have options against whoever you're playing, whichever offense they play this year in the playoff. I'm more confident in Ohio State's defense because of the options that they have, the depth that they have. It's unreal.
Cody Simon didn't play last week. They missed him because he's a leader on this defense, and he's one of their best players. And if they would have not had him against Oregon, Penn State, or Michigan, or in a playoff game, we would have noticed it more. We have to take that into account. They didn't miss him last week. Why? Because what did it do? We found out Sonny Styles can learn how to play Mike linebacker in 10 days. We found out, okay, CJ's not perfect as a linebacker in space, but if you blitz him, whoa. We found out Arvell Reese might be a dude, right? That's what we found out. You just mentioned it. Denzel Burke gets kicked out of the game, and we're all like, Jermaine Matthews pretty good.
We're like, at least it was in the first half, and you don't got to worry about it for Marshall.
Jermaine Matthews is pretty good. They're rotating on the defensive line. I think this might be the deepest Ohio State defense I've covered. It's just they've recruited it well. Guys have developed. Guys are 3 years into this Jim Knowles system, so they know what they're doing. We were getting text 614-350-3315 in the middle of the second quarter, and guys were like, hey, is JT okay? Hey, is Jack okay? Because they just hadn't seen him. Yep. And it's like, oh, they haven't been on the field. Oh, well, Mitchell Melton. Well, not even that. It's just Mitchell Melton's handling it. KJ's got it, right? Caden Curry's got it. Education's got it. It's just they're in a position where you scored 100-plus points and you only gave up 6, so yes, you're building depth. But also, you're building enough depth that you said 17. I don't know, man. They might, outside of safety, they might have a full 2 deep by the time they get to December. And it's just like, let's just roll guys. Yep. Whoever fits best, who's ever going. Now, we know who the high-end talent is. We know who the NFL players are. But still, it's just deep. And Jim Knowles has probably never had this many toys to play with. So what does that mean against Oregon? What does that mean against Penn State? What does that mean against Michigan? Although, week 2 of college football said it might not even matter what it means to get those teams right now. But it's just, we've been asking Jim Knowles for 3 years now these questions about, hey, you've never had talent like this. What does it mean? Well, he's got, I don't know when's the next time he's going to have this level of talent and this level of experience. And they're using all of it. And as a result, you've given up 6 points in 2 weeks. Now, you get a break, and you get to review some things. And maybe we see some hierarchies change over time. Because, again, Orville Reese, he is now on my radar. And it's part of it's because we're cleveland.com. But the other part of it is he's just looked awesome for 2 weeks. But it's giving the players like that a chance to emerge. And I think that's a good thing for Ohio State long term. Get the text 6-1.
Do you guys think they give up a touchdown before the Oregon game?
I said they don't give up a touchdown until the third quarter of the Michigan State game, and you guys laughed at me.
We didn't laugh at you.
Laughed at me.
Michigan State might score. I don't know if Cade McNamara is going to score on this defense, so I don't think it's crazy for them to say one touch.
Are they giving up a touchdown against Oregon at this point?
Okay, now we're getting hyperbolic. We're going to talk about this on Buckeye Talk. Get the text 614-350-3315. I'm Steven. He's Stefan. He's Andrew. We'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks.